Good morning, Cherisse. Are you hearing us?
Good morning, Brandon. Good morning, Renata. I'm actually standing here with a very special guest, Professor Avinash Persod. He is the special envoy to Prime Minister Mia Mottley and also the chair of the CARICOM Commission on the Economy. And so we'd like to ask the professor this morning about some of the goals for this meeting, for this momentous meeting that we're in. Professor?
Well, this is a very important time in international politics, of course, given what's happening with the Ukraine. And like all other small states, we are very concerned about the issue of territorial sovereignty and how it's defended. But of course, even before that, we had set up a pretty important agenda today. This is going to be the first time that we address something called enhanced cooperation. It was one of the recommendations of my commission, the CARICOM Commission on the Economy. CARICOM, sometimes people think people are squabbling all the time, and that's why we don't move ahead. In reality, of the 15 member states, often we get very strong agreement between, say, 10 states, 12 states, 15 states. But there may be one or two states that are uncomfortable, and that kind of holds down and slows down.
That's so unfortunate, because then a great goal that could have gone ahead just hindered.
So enhanced cooperation is about if 5 member states believe it's the right thing to go ahead and it's not going to be harmful to the other 10, they can go. And that's quite momentous, really will unstick character.
And as it applies to CSME, which I know that your government is spearheading, how do you think that that's going to help us move along in ways where cynics would have said, oh, CSME is never going to come along?
Well, there are a lot of economic initiatives where we can't get 15 member states to agree that now is a right time, but 5 might. So, for example, we're doing a lot of work on getting a fast ferry, perhaps starting off with the southern, to try and move cargo and people much more quickly. We've also achieved great steps towards the Caribbean being a single telecom space, one regulator, and maybe in the future, no roaming charges as we move around the Caribbean. We've already got agreement from the telecoms providers. They should be capped costs. Remember when you go abroad and sometimes you get cut back home and you see this bill, it's thousands of dollars. Well, now these are capped and they're much reduced. So we're really making some good progress. But if we had to get all 15 members agreeing to do something now, it's harder progress.
And this is really progress toward multilateralism within CARICOM that will help us negotiate as a wider bloc. I also want to ask you very briefly, I know this may not be your area, but COP27, I know we're preparing for that here by getting down some basic understanding. Would you happen to know what some of those are?
Most definitely. Climate change is a major factor for the Caribbean. We are on the front line of war to climate change. So we've been pushing heavily at COP26 to make a number of changes. For example, to get the world to commit more money to adaptation of climate. Because they are not doing enough to slow down climate change. We're going to hit 1.2 degrees, higher temperatures. The glaciers are going to start melting. And when the glaciers melt, they don't melt at the poles. They melt at the equator. Because of the spin of the Earth, that water comes down to where we are. So we are pushing heavily for adaptation funds. And CARICOM is going to make a resolution, it's going to be discussed this meeting, on this push for adaptation. So yes, we want the world to mitigate and reduce climate change, but we also need money to help adapt our economies to rising sea levels and increasing temperatures.
Wonderful, very exciting stuff. Professor Persod, how have you been enjoying Belize in your half day that you've been here?
It's my first visit to Belize. I've never been here before. And sadly, these aren't the occasions to see a country. We're in a spectacular location here in San Pedro. And I wish next time I come, it's very clear that next time I come back, it's amazing.
Absolutely. Well, we'll welcome you back to Belize when that time comes. And thank you so much for speaking with Channel 7 today.
My pleasure.